The scaling system is fucking broken.
I couldn't disagree more. S tier, baby. S tier.
I would put this at C. Like, that's how reasonable I am. Vibes-based
What are you
ranking
talking
system.
about? Today, we are going to be putting all the different cults that we talked about this season into a tier list. Why are we doing this? I'm not totally sure, but let's do it.
Let's get into it.
How are we ranking them? What's the metric going to be here?
Noor had suggested vibes. I kind of like vibes.
They're cults. Don't they all have bad vibes?
Yeah, but then there's, like, elements to them that's like...
But that's the point. Cultiest vibes.
Cultiest
to
vibes.
least
I'm down.
culty vibes.
Yeah.
I think in this season, one thing that we talked about a lot is that cultishness is a spectrum in a lot of ways, right? Things can be more or less culty. Few things are just straight up cults, right?
Yeah.
So
cultish to straight up cult is
Yeah.
kind of the system we're going with.
I think so.
Ish.
Works for me.
Yeah.
Okay, number 1. Snapeism / Snape wives.
This is like D tier for me.
Okay.
Look, there were 3 women who kind of had like a little fan club and created a strange little religion for themselves. But like, was there anybody else who was serious about it outside of those 3 women?
No, I think people were serious about watching them.
Yeah.
And just like spectating.
Exactly.
But no, I think it was just these 3 people. I think it could be even F tier.
Wow.
F tier?
You're brutal. I would give it a C. Like a solid, C is like solid,
Okay, but hear me out. There were only
Cult-ish.
the one reason I wouldn't put it in F tier is this is an actual like religion, according to the scholar that we talked to. The religious element
religion
of it,
that
I
could-
think, saves it from the bottom of the
A
barrel.
religion that could be broken by Agent Gibbs of NCIS. Like, it is
True.
not that
is true.
serious.
I don't think it's F because I think it's still a little culty. Like F is basically like we
This
shouldn't
isn't
even
a
have
cult.
talked
Yeah,
about it,
yeah.
right?
Okay. F is we shouldn't even have talked about it. That gives me some clarity.
Yeah.
That's
Let's move
brutal,
into
but-
D
D
tier.
works for me.
Manson Family. I don't have strong feelings about this one. Like, it's definitely the cult of a cult.
What? How do you not have strong feelings about this?
Because it's like, everybody knows this. It's like it's like the lamest in my mind. Like, Snapeism is way
What?
cooler than this.
Again, we're not talking about is it cool or not. The Manson, it's definitely A tier, right?
Yeah.
A or S in terms of like, it's very culty. They formed a little cult around Charles Manson. The only thing I think that saves it from S tier is that it didn't have broader resonance and they didn't have like almost set ideology.
I feel like it's A tier. Like, that actually makes a lot of sense to me. I feel like outside of, like, California, it didn't have much reach.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of blown away more by Noor's take.
No, this scale is broken. Our scaling system is broken.
We're 2 cults in and you're already claiming it's broken? It's part of what started the cult panic in the
Exactly.
70s, very much so,
Yeah.
right? We didn't really, like, as a society, talk much about cults, quote unquote, until
this.
Manson and one of the other ones that is going to be coming up. Are we good with A tier?
I'll allow it.
Brother 12. Jordan, you did most of the research
Yeah.
on this one.
This was actually like a fairly successful group. Like, he had like pretty outrageous reach during his time period. Like, I think this to me feels like A. He had reach in not just Europe, but also the United States and
Yeah.
Canada. I think the difference would be he didn't have that many followers like on the ground with him. The Manson family probably had more, actually, if I think about it, or maybe comparable numbers.
I'd say
of,
comparable
like,
numbers, yeah.
Yeah, living at like what was it, something ranch.
Yeah.
Honestly, that kind of feels a little bit similar to Brother 12's Island.
It
you
does,
know?
yeah. They're a little bit isolated. They're tied in some ways to like bigwigs at the time, right? Brother 12's case, it's weird political kind of people
Yeah.
in the U.S. Obviously, in the Manson case, it's like Hollywood and the music scene in L.A.
Both like pretty financially motivated at times.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think the leaders can be kind of fair weather in their belief.
Both real hardcore racists.
Yep, both real hardcore racists. I don't know. I feel like Brother 12 has to be on the whatever tier we've put the Manson family on just for these connections.
But
That makes
Manson's
sense?
more iconic, right? Like, it's a
It's
bigger
true.
one.
How? How? Brother 12 is iconic. Did you not remember the trial scene where he like juked a bunch of people and they like fainted on the floors? Like that's fucking crazy.
I think what Arshy's
that's
getting at
S-tier.
is no one knows that.
Yeah, nobody knows about Brother 12
Search
unless
it
you're
up.
from BC. I think it's B tier.
Okay.
I think it's a cult. I think it's pretty culty.
I can
but
kind
think
of
it's B tier.
agree with that, actually.
I've
because
protested the whole scale, so I'll do whatever. Brother 12, B.
B tier.
B for Brother 12.
Jonestown.
I mean, this is the
S
cultiest
tier?
cult tier. Yeah. I read a book about Jonestown to kind of prep for this season. And, like, it's wild, the events that took place there. Like, we didn't talk about it in this season because there's a lot of media out there about Jonestown. There's not many connections to Canada. There was no reason for us to go into it. But, man, Jim Jones is one of the more interesting figures I have ever come across.
Yeah.
You know, when he was living in Indianapolis, which is kind of where he started his church, he basically single-handedly helped to desegregate Indianapolis, which is wild. And then things just get real bad. But I have to say, I remember, Jordan, we were having a conversation, like, about how stupid we found a lot of the modern day cults, especially like QAnon stuff, MLMs, like how it's all entirely just focused on like making money and like weird personal branding. Like it's all just internet garbage, you know? And I made the comparison to Jonestown, being like, you know, cults used to stand for something. Now all these
it's
cults
true.
nowadays are just like weird influencers online. Like you don't have to commit that hard.
You don't
it's
have to like
stupider.
write a manifesto anymore.
Exactly. Cults nowadays are dumber than they've ever been. So yes,
You're so
Jonestown,
passionate.
S tier. I feel kind of bad because
But it's
almost
iconic.
950 people like were killed. It's truly awful stuff, but it is the cultiest of the cults for sure.
You heard it here first from Arshy Mann. Make cults great again.
Dude.
I did not say that. That's what you said.
I heard him say it.
MK Ultra.
This is such a tough one.
This is a clear S to me. This is
It's
like
not a cult. Like it was a CIA covert ops program, not
Yes.
a cult.
But, okay, here's my argument. Culturally, it had a really large impact on, like, pop culture and everything. But it also had an impact on how we think about cults and brainwashing. There would be no cults if there wasn't the idea of brainwashing.
The brainwashing thing is a part of it, absolutely. I think that's a way in which people discuss how people come and go from cults.
It is the reason why we talked about MK Ultra in this season.
Yeah.
Is because it's you know partially where this idea of brainwashing comes from.
Yeah, but it's not a cult.
I'll make the counter argument because
So my side or Jordan's side?
your side, even though I don't agree, but I'll make this argument.
let's hear it.
So in the episode, we do make pretty strong parallels to the way that Dr. Ewan Cameron was able to control patients, basically like control the staff and things like that. Like everyone deferred to him in this way, that the institute that he was working at, where they were conducting these horrifying experiments, was kind of culty. Like maybe it wasn't a cult, but there was a culty element to what Dr. Cameron was doing, especially how nobody questioned like the lengths that he was going.
I win, you lose.
No, I still don't think it's a cult.
Well, I think
We didn't say Dr. Ewan Cameron. MK Ultra was much broader.
Exactly. So, like, if we're talking about MK Ultra broadly, I'm like F tier. Like,
What
Yeah,
absolutely.
F tier.
What the F?
But if we're talking about MK
not a
Ultra experiments, then I could be convinced of a higher tier than that.
It could go up to like C for me.
Yeah, I think it would be above Snape Wives if we're talking Allen Memorial Institute, Ewan
Yes.
Cameron.
Fine.
Okay.
We're all still gonna be friends after this, right?
No, I'm moving desks. No more. Crypto/NFTs.
I feel like we can just talk about crypto more broadly, right?
Yeah, like
And like for sure, crypto is like high up there, I would say.
I agree.
Like, people fall under the sway of, like, what was it, like Luna, right?
Yeah.
People got crazy into it. I mean, this was one of the main episodes that we really wanted to do that just did not come together because literally not a single person would take our calls. I mean, this was happening during the Sam Bankman-Fried trial.
Yeah.
And so I think every single crypto person in the world was busy. But I see some of them doing other podcasts.
Yeah, no.
and I do not approve.
Yeah.
They don't even email us back. Unacceptable.
This one's pretty high up for me. There's just so many like charismatic, strange leaders and like things that people believe in this space.
Yeah.
The like myths that they build for themselves.
It also just like opens you up to a whole other world of like cults, like online, like weird,
Absolutely.
right-wing type, economy type cult related things.
Absolutely.
And it comes loaded with all this ideology.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's not just a way to make money.
Yeah.
It is a belief system
Yeah.
that you have to buy into. This is why, like, the most annoying person you'll ever meet, like a party, is the guy who won't shut the fuck up
About
about
much
crypto,
Bitcoin, yeah.
right? Like, for me, I'd say B tier. Like, it's up there, maybe in a few years, like, especially now that the crash has finally happened.
Yeah.
Like, now is their kind of, like, reaffirming time, and they're gonna, come back cultier than
something-
ever,
yeah, with something
right? But we're not
bigger.
there yet. They haven't, so I'd say it's, like, B tier up there with Brother 12. I don't know
Yeah.
what you guys think.
Feels firmly B tier to me.
Yeah.
Raelianism.
I don't think they're a cult.
Huh?
They're more of a religion, Like, they're like a weird religion, but, like, there's very few forms of social control that they impose. People have had bad experiences in there.
Yeah.
There is, you're expected to give, you're asked to give some of your money to the church, like a percentage of your income, but not everybody does, and there's no punishment if you don't. Rael can be a weird guy, like the leader of Raelism. And I don't know, the people we've talked to, even like the researchers, like the research that I've looked at, makes it seem fairly harmless. And their ideology is kind of affirming, There's not enemies hidden everywhere. It's more like go out and have fun and like celebrate life. And also the aliens are coming in 2035 and prepare for that.
We're probably talking about D tier here
Yeah.
for them.
D to F, yeah.
Or to F. Well, then I'm kind of wondering, like, on like maybe like the scale of like religion, which we already have talked about, which is Snape Wives, and that's kind of why we put them there. Like, do you think that Snape Wives was more cultish than Raelianism?
I don't think it's F, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there
C.
is an element.
It's C.
I
It's
don't
C.
think so. I think
But
there was.
wait. Your argument is that it's not a cult, it's a religion. So then,
Yeah. They don't make you cut off ties with your family. You can work the professions that you work. Like, you have a life,
They're not particularly like aggressive around like conversion either.
No.
Like,
They're not making you give up, like, all your money or your worldly gains. There aren't, like, vicious allegations of abuse from all the leadership. Like, abuse has happened within Raelism, but it also happens in almost all religions, right?
Okay.
Like, you cannot find me a religious movement that has not had
Had something.
bad stuff, bad people doing bad things within it, right? You can't find me a non-religious movement that hasn't had that, right?
Snapeism seems stricter.
Oh, Snapeism was much
100%
stricter.
was quite strict.
And this is the other thing. Raelism in a lot of ways was quite progressive. People were marching in pride parades in the like early 90s, right? They were giving out contraception back in the day. Like,
yeah.
there's elements that I find a little dubious. I mean, Rael has like some strange political views
Yeah.
in which it's kind of like they're a little anti-democratic. Yeah, it kind of sucks, but like that aspect is not central to Rael's beliefs. What's central is more like we're all descended from the angels. We're also aliens, and like that's a cool thing, and we should maybe clone ourselves. And like they seem like they're having fun,
They do seem like they're having fun.
And they were cool. Like the two Raelians we interviewed, they were cool. They were cool. They were cool.
Continuing to just run on vibes.
No,
see
I will.
more.
Like
Yeah.
she was wearing cool ass jeans, and I would wear those jeans.
Great jeans.
Yeah, they
So
were.
I'd say
They
like
were.
D tier.
Unification Church.
I don't really know a lot about
No,
them.
yeah, no, me neither.
Like, I know about their political views, which I find very distasteful. They're ultra conservative.
That's the only like
They run the
interesting
Washington
thing.
Times.
Yeah.
And I know about the assassination of Shinzo Abe because somebody thought he was too associated with the Unification Church.
I do think that
But-
alone kind of puts it on A tier for me. Like, if we're just looking at that particular
Yeah.
incident. Also, the reach is pretty
Huge.
pretty huge. The mass wedding stuff, I think.
Yes,
has,
the
like,
mass weddings are weird.
Weird.
like I if we've got the Manson family there, like Unification Church
I agree.
is
I think
I
probably
agree.
such a force in a way. It seems like a weird way to describe them, but
Yeah.
like has like I don't know. That's just kind of where they seem to land.
It's
for
true.
me.
I do feel like I feel bad about like I haven't done the research on them and so don't have a good sense, right? But
You're
but in
such a
terms
journalist, like this is a fucking tier list, and you're like,
Yeah. You gotta
fact-checking
turn down
Uh-huh.
podcast hosts
Yeah,
yeah.
for this game.
Uh-huh.
Like you're being
It's
very like smart about it.
he's like on a debate team,
Yeah, it's, like,
and we're just
annoying.
vibing.
I mean, does it surprise anybody that I was on debate teams in high school?
Absolutely
Yeah.
but
not.
this is not that.
Yeah. I think A tier,
A.
if nothing else, because a lot of the discourse around cults came out of kind of anxieties around the Unification Church in the 1970s.
A
Yeah,
A
A tier.
tier.
Hurrah.
Absolutely.
FLDS.
The Fundamentalist Latter-day Saints.
Yeah.
This is difficult for me.
I do think there's a lot of fundamentalist Mormons out there who don't live particularly cultish lives, or I don't know. I mean, when we talked to Mary Jane Blackmore, she described herself as like, yeah, it was a cult. So to me, maybe like the
Yeah.
FLDS is a diverse and large movement. There's a lot of people who are fundamentalist Mormons on this continent, and they hold a variety of different kinds of beliefs. So I find it hard to like put it anywhere in particular.
I'm happy with C.
I'm happy with C. I feel like exactly like we could like literally rank the FLDS on this tier system.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
that would make more sense. So like yeah, let's throw it right in the middle.
Yeah, right in the middle.
MLMs.
You're making a face.
I don't-
Say your things.
This is not a cult to me, but they are weird and culty, and I would definitely put them below Snape wives and realism. They're definitely not on that level.
I couldn't disagree more. S tier, baby. S tier.
I'm gonna go more
MLMs
with you.
are the biggest and worst cult out there. I think they are the single most like damaging cult entities in existence. And I think they embody all of the aspects of like cultishness to an almost like perfect degree. And like having experienced many of them, I mean, my family was always caught up in MLMs. I can tell you like that energy is like very strongly there. And if for no other reason than the damage that they do and the broadness of their scale and their political power, absolute S tier.
Jordan,
I'm gonna say
pick wisely. Choose
okay,
very
but like
wisely.
here's what I'm thinking, and I want you to think back to when we were making the MLM episode and the QAnon episode, and the feeling that I think both of us felt, like where we literally like had to like take a walk, take a beat, because oh my god, after watching the QAnon stuff was the same after watching the MLM stuff. Like, when you hear those guys talk and it's in your ears and we were like going through all that stuff.
Yeah.
Did you not feel that? Like, and I know where you're going to put QAnon. So like maybe reconsider.
Where are we putting them? A?
S. They are the biggest.
Like you take
Amway
risks,
is
brother.
by far.
You take risks.
Yeah.
Like you're a
The
risky
stakes
guy.
have literally never been lower.
No, they're really high for me. Like this is changing everything for me, guys. I don't know. Okay, so S.
CrossFit.
Well, Arshy, I think you should start with this because
Because,
you're
yeah.
the athlete and
That's
because
right,
you
yeah.
love the gym.
100%. I love getting up early.
You love
and
that.
just like going
The
to my
grind.
CrossFit
Yeah,
and
the grind.
grinding.
Grind.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
hustle,
the
and,
hustle
grind.
and grind,
When
yeah.
I think of Arshy, that's generally
Yeah.
Look, I grind. I mean, I've never done CrossFit, so I can't say, but I'm never going to do that.
No, they are a cult.
I
like,
think that
straight
they
up.
are culty. They used to like in Amanda Montell's book, Cultish, she goes pretty deep into CrossFit in particular and talks about Like, not only the weird devotion they have for their leader, who, again, also turned out to be hardcore racist, which is always how this goes, but, like, the lengths people are willing to go to, again. Like, they will make memes about getting rhabdomyolysis because, like, your fucking liver will shut down.
Yeah, what did they have?
From,
They had like a nickname for it.
Yeah,
They
it was
were,
like something like, Rhabdo or like Dr. R or something stupid like that.
Oh, that's no good. Yeah, cult.
Yeah, cult. So I like C, maybe B.
This is a huge one. A.
You think
For me,
A?
once,
No.
once, just one. Given one.
But like,
I don't know. Do you feel? I feel it's kind of in the crypto-y sort of
yeah,
space.
that's kind of where I see it.
I bet there's some intersection too with the
I'm sure
Oh,
there
100%.
is.
crypto bros
I'm
and
sure.
the CrossFit.
If you do
bros.
CrossFit, you are at risk of buying an NFT. 100%. Like, you are at a much greater risk.
CrossFit.
Um,
B.
Yeah,
B.
B
I think
feels
B
good
too.
too.
Queen of Canada. No. You know where I stand. Where do
yeah,
you
so I
stand?
think obviously F.
Yeah, 100%. I think the dynamic has emerged that we have to disagree with you and everything, Noor. So yeah, this ain't a cult.
ain't
What?
a cult.
It's a governmental institution. She's the Queen of Canada. I
Yeah.
don't see a problem here.
Long may she reign.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, I wouldn't put it at S, A, or B. I would put this at C. Like,
Really?
that's how
Wait,
reasonable
what?
I am.
What?
Vibes-based
What are you
ranking
talking
system.
about? You just said you assumed we knew where you stood. We did not, apparently.
You let me put MLMs up there because I compared it to this one.
Okay, because I, like, deep down don't believe that MLMs is an S. So, like, that's why I'm managing two tiers in my head.
Okay, so S.
Yeah, I think QAnon, like, for sure, S. Like, they're doing the craziest
They're doing the Lord's
stuff.
work. Yeah.
And, like,
They're, like, really.
oh, boy. I don't remember what it is.
I like the name.
I'm pretty sure this is the one where they yell at you.
Okay.
I think they do yell.
So,
like,
like-
that's what Amanda Montell said.
Oh, it's the one with the
it's
drug
the
rehabilitation
rehab
one?
And then
Yeah.
they all lived in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's that one.
Originally known as tender loving care. Wow.
And there was
TLC.
abuse in it.
Yeah,
'cause
attack therapy.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, the words attack therapy sound culty. So,
And the name sounds cool.
like C,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Let's just,
I can live with that.
Yeah, let's throw it and see.
Heaven's Gate. Next.
I think if you commit mass suicide, you probably end up in S tier because that's about like one of the worst
Yeah.
things you can do, right?
Yeah.
Outside of like maybe like Shinrikyo, trying to like attack the Tokyo subway, like Heaven's Gate's like pretty bad. They were another alien religion, right? They believed that the comet Hale-Bopp was an alien spaceship that they had to then basically kill themselves in order to ascend to. And a lot of people died, and it was pretty awful. The weirdest part is, like, the website. Do you guys know about the website?
Yeah.
I think either one person or two people who were left behind told not to kill themselves so that they could propagate the message. For 20 years, maybe even still now, they just had, like, this GeoCities page. I know those words don't mean anything to you, Noor, but it means very old website.
Okay.
They had, like, basically, like, a GeoCities Angel Fire 90s website still available in which you could then, like, email them. They'll send you the, like, video about, like, what they're all about. And even many years after this, the guy was still, like, a believer and still engaging with people, would occasionally do media interviews by email as well. Very, very strange. But yeah, Heaven's Gate, pretty dark, very culty, S tier.
S tier for
I
sure.
agree. Swifties. S. Straight. Give it to them straight. Because if we give them any other ranking, they will come for us.
I think they're going to come for us if we give
I
them
think if we
S.
put
No.
them next to QAnon, Heaven's Gate, and Jonestown,
Yeah.
that makes it more likely for them to come for us.
Yes.
No, but I really do believe they're us. Like, they're scary people.
I mean, they
Have
are
you
scary.
met
I will
them?
not downplay the fact that there's definitely certain factions of this group that are quite intense about their relationship
With T-Swizzle.
With T-Swizzle. Like there's definitely harassment happening, there's doxing happening, that kind of stuff. I don't know that I would say why it wouldn't be S tier to me is because Taylor Swift is not Jim Jones. Like, she's not giving marching orders to this group. They're fans of her, but like that's not the same.
The other thing that I'll say is evidence against Swifties being the biggest cult is like we just recently had a collision of like two very different worlds, the Swifties and the NFL. Because of like,
Oh my God,
because she's
yeah.
dating Travis Kelce.
Are you
who
a Swiftie?
I like Taylor Swift, but I'm not a Swiftie, I'd say. Okay. So you had this like big collision, and I'll say the worst group out of that were the football fans.
Yeah,
You know, it wasn't the
themselves
Swifties.
to be just as bad.
Exactly. Like I think the Swifties got the like raw end of that, even though for the first 2 weeks everyone was freaking out about them being like into football, and like a lot of them watched football games for like a little while, but it was the NFL world that was cultier, I'd say.
As someone who watches football, like, occasionally, like, there's football folks in my family who love it, Swifties getting into football was great because they were, like, doing these explainer videos and stuff, and, like, the culture's dominated by Taylor Swift. I saw some.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's really useful. Thank you. Like, I'm going to bookmark that for, like, the Super Bowl.
I'd be okay with B, but like not higher.
Nor if you want to do B, like that would make they're in there with CrossFit, I think, and like that kind of stuff. I do think actually.
I think CrossFit can be more harmful.
Taylor Swift.
I
would
agree.
be-
I think all of those on that tier are more harmful, but I also think maybe Taylor Swift is still in the Swiftie fandom is still in its early days.
Yeah.
The Church of Swift could be on the horizon, and I don't think it
Very
would.
true.
I don't think it would surprise me.
And like there is like interpretation that goes on, like almost like
literally.
like, theological
Oh,
kind of
absolutely.
close
So
readings of her
crazy.
lyrics, right?
Yeah, like that's So like I think on the horizon, like on our kind of cult watch list.
Cult watch list. Okay.
Like this, like tech bros.
Yeah.
Like finance bros.
I mean, I think tech, especially for a while, had a real culty atmosphere to it. Like
Huge.
startup culture, especially. But the thing that, again, I think does push it to that level a little bit is the ideology, right? It does come loaded with
Yeah.
like this kind of mission-oriented stuff. Like, remember when every tech company was going to save the world? That's all they're talking about, even though the real goal is just to make a lot of money.
Where
I don't
we,
know,
where
like
we
D.
thinking?
D. I also give
D,
this a
like-
D.
It could honestly also be F for me. Just
Yeah,
to, like,
maybe
play
F. Okay,
it's not
devil's
really.
advocate, because it's not super cohesive and like
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if there's
there
a lot there.
is ideology, but there's nuance to
Yeah.
it. I think across kind of the tech world,
Yeah.
I think there's infighting.
big,
yeah, it's too
too.
broad, too
Yeah.
big. No like real identifiable leaders.
Yeah.
I mean,
there are.
Like sorry, but there
I mean,
are. But
Elon Musk, like, Andreessen, like people like that definitely have their own kind of followings, but it's not enough.
True crime fandoms.
I feel like we just put this on here because we don't like them.
Yeah, they're not a
They're
cult.
real
They just suck. Fucking hate most true crime, and I hope that we did not do
that.
that in this season.
Yeah. No, we
Um,
didn't. We
yeah,
really didn't.
because like most of it's like exploitative garbage.
Yeah. And very like dramatized in a way that like is really weird.
Yeah, it's just like pure like let's make people paranoid. It's just titillation. It's exploitive. Like at its worst. Like there's lots of decent true crime out there.
Yes, but like I'm thinking my favorite murder.
What's the meme? There's like a really great meme that's like it would suck to get murdered, and then like on a podcast someone's like, okay, I got a real ooey gooey one for you,
Yeah.
and it's like
my
like
fuck.
it's that kind of. Those types of true crime podcasts, I don't think it's a cult, but they
No.
bum me out.
They bum me up, but F tier, I think.
F tier.
Wow. Unhappy with it all, but congratulations, guys.
The one that we didn't have on here that I think should be on this list is hockey. Like,
my
especially
God.
junior hockey, right? I think that was what we did a whole season on before, and that I think would rank pretty highly here,
Yeah,
especially in
agreed.
Canada.
Agreed.
It is very culty, acts like a cult, is basically our national religion, and the reason that so many crimes happen within it and people get away with it is because they're given almost like religious immunity.
Yeah. I
right?
would put hockey B tier.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
agree.
between A and B for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I think if we made it into junior hockey, it'd be A.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's our weird cult tier list.
Listen to our season on cults. It
Yeah.
was really good. You can find Commons wherever you listen to podcasts.